Happy Cinco de Mayo. Just like we talked about yesterday, today is May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, just like the book we read yesterday, celebrating Mexican independence. So if you have some way to celebrate today, do it. We might have to have Taco Tuesday tonight. Oh, it's Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Yes, that's so cool. All right, so today is Tuesday, May 5th. This is your ELA guided video lesson. And we're going to continue working with those nonfiction text features today. If you've been practicing your song, you rock. I love seeing videos and hearing from you guys about the song. And hopefully the more you practice it, the more it's going to stick in your head so we can apply it to different books and magazines and texts. We're actually going to look at a magazine today instead of a book. I'm kind of excited because it's super interesting and something I had no idea about until I started reading this magazine. Don't you love to learn new things through reading? I do. So we're going to review our text feature song. Before we dive in a little more specifically today, we're going to talk about the differences between a glossary and an index, and then we're going to really dive into subheadings, okay? Subheadings, glossary, and index are going to be our main text features we talk about today. So let's practice our song one time, and then we will get started with our super cool magazine. All right, here we go. You ready? You ready? Here we go. Text features, ooh na na. Sing with me. We use them when we read nonfiction, ooh na na. They help us understand the meaning, na na na. We've got to listen to our teacher and look for the text features. Text features. Oh, table of contents helps us locate the major topics. Glossary gives us definitions of the bold words. The index gives us the page numbers of detailed topics. These text features helps to organize the entire text. Ooh. The caption gives us info and tells us what a picture shows. Ooh. The headings and subheadings, they focus on what the part that's coming up. Text features, ooh na na. We use them when we read nonfiction, ooh na na. They help us understand the meaning, na na na. We've got to listen to our teacher and look for their text features. Text features. Oh, good job. That was awesome. You guys are really getting the hang of it. All right, so let's talk quickly about the main differences between our glossary and our index. Okay, so here's a picture of the glossary from our Cinco de Mayo book yesterday. And here's a picture of our index. So what do we notice they have in common? They both have key terms, key words, key details from the book, but they're also very different. So remember from our song, glossary gives us definitions of the bold words. Chalupas, fiestas, folk song, heritage, all of these glossary words were bold words from the story that the author thought were important enough to make them really bold and dark. So this glossary gives us definitions or meanings of each of those words. Okay, and then next to the index, the thing that sticks out to me first are the numbers, okay? So remember, the index gives us the page numbers of detailed topics. So there's a lot more listed in our index than in our glossary. Because remember, the glossary is just the bold words, those key terms. But the index is major or detailed topics throughout the story, way more than just the bold keywords. All right, and you can use the index for the page numbers. So our glossary is in alphabetical ABC order, and it lists the key words and their definitions or meanings. And then the index, also in alphabetical order, is not key words, but key topics and their page numbers where you can find more info on them. Okay, so that's our main difference between our glossary and our index. Okay. All right, so like I said, today we're going to be diving in a little bit more into subheadings, headings and subheadings. So if you look at this magazine of chameleons, we're going to look at a magazine of Scholastic News really similar to this in just a minute, where it says right there, a chameleon's day, that's going to be our heading. The headings and subheadings, they focus on what? The part that's coming up. So a chameleon's day is my heading. So I know that this whole magazine coming up is going to be telling me more about different parts of a chameleon's day, how a chameleon goes about its day. It says amazing body parts help a chameleon get through its day. So it's focusing on the body parts for a chameleon's day. And then I see 1, 2, 3, 4 subheadings underneath my main heading. So subheadings are little mini titles or mini words that appear underneath the heading. Remember, yesterday we said sub meant below. And the subheadings tell the reader the topic or the section of the paragraph that comes next. Remember, they focus on what? The part that's coming up. So down here, if you look at that first orange subheading, it says amazing feet. So what do I think that section or that paragraph is going to be about? They tell me what's coming next. So using that subheading, amazing feet, I can infer that that section is going to be about the chameleon's feet, right? So my second subheading says amazing eyes. So I can infer that that section of my magazine is going to be about their eyes. All right, and then I've got the next subheading says amazing tongues. And I can infer that that section is going to be about how they use their tongues to get through their day. And then the final subheading here is amazing skin. So I can infer that that section is going to be telling me more about their skin. Remember, the headings and subheadings, they focus on what? The part that's coming up. Now I'm about to challenge you big time. You ready? We're going to look at a Scholastic News magazine together, but I have taken out all of the subheadings. All the subheadings have been removed. So rather than reading the subheading and figuring out what the section is going to be about, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to read the section and we're going to figure out what it's about to come up with a subheading for it. That's going to be your activity that you do independently today. All right, so we're going to read this magazine together about rainbow plants. Look at that tree. That is the coolest tree I think I've ever seen. And it's real. And it's not painted like I originally thought that it was as soon as I saw this. All right, so our title here says rainbow plants. And the sentences underneath it say, this tree has bark with brightly colored streaks. It's not the only plant that looks like a rainbow. All right, and we've got 3 little circles up here that say, this is a rainbow eucalyptus tree. It grows in warm places like Florida and Hawaii. Its trunk has colorful streaks. So I'm adding that to my bucket list. I want to see a rainbow eucalyptus tree in real life. All right, so here's the inside of our magazine. And like I said, I took away all the subheadings and I took away the captions just to try to challenge you guys even more. All right, so our big main title or heading at the top of this magazine is called Rainbow Plant Parts. Okay, rainbow plant parts. So we're going to be reading about the different parts. All right, let's go ahead and start reading. Ready? As you read, think about how the rainbow plants are alike and how they are different. Before I start reading, I think I can see 3 main plants that we're going to be focusing on. We've got that eucalyptus tree down there at the bottom, the rainbow eucalyptus from the cover. I see beautiful rainbow colored carrots up here at the top. And then I see this really pretty rainbow rose down at the bottom. All right, plants can come in all kinds of colors. They get their rainbow colors in different ways. All right, so that's just my little introductory paragraph, and now we're about to get into our main first section. Now you see that red rectangle with the number 1, I took the subheading away. So we're gonna read this section together and talk about it and see if we can come up with what subheading would be good to introduce us to this section, okay? This tree's bark has many different colors. It looks like someone drew on it with crayons, but it grew that way. The rainbow eucalyptus tree sheds bark all the time. That means pieces of bark peel and fall off. When a piece falls off, it shows new bark below it. At first, all of the bark is green. Over time, the bark changes colors. It turns blue, purple, red, and orange. As new bark grows and old bark peels off, the tree looks like a rainbow. This colorful bark has an important job. It protects the tree's trunk. It keeps the tree trunk from getting hurt or drying out. Even though the bark keeps peeling, the tree stays healthy. Okay, so I saw 3 bold words in this section. I saw bark, I saw sheds, and I saw trunk. Did you guys notice any words that were repeated several times in this section? Because I sure did. I saw the word bark. Let's see, I see the word bark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The word bark, tree bark, is mentioned 10 times in this section. So I can infer that this section is focusing mainly on rainbow tree bark, right? That's all it mentioned was rainbow tree bark. The purpose of it, how it looks a certain way, why it falls off, and how it serves the tree trunk. So maybe a subheading we could come up with for this section could be about rainbow bark. Because that's what the whole section was mostly about. Because remember, the headings and subheadings, they focus on the part that's coming up. And that whole part told us about rainbow tree bark. So maybe a subheading there could be rainbow bark, rainbow tree bark. All right, let's go to section 2. Ready? You're probably used to carrots being orange, but they can also be purple, yellow, red, or white. Different colors of carrots taste different. They have different vitamins in them too. Darker carrots have a lot of vitamins, while white carrots have the fewest vitamins. All carrots grow below the ground. That's because they're roots. Roots hold a plant in place as it grows. Roots also absorb water from the soil. How do you grow a rainbow carrot? You need rainbow carrot seeds. Those are seeds that came from other rainbow carrots. Plant your seeds in the soil and give them water and sunlight. Soon, you'll have a rainbow growing under your feet. Okay, I really want to try that. So remember, our main heading here is rainbow plant parts. We're not focusing on subheadings on actual plants, but we're focusing on the rainbow plant parts. Because we said our first section here talked about the bark. That's a plant part. So what plant part were we focusing on here in section number 2? Well, our plant we focused on was carrots, but what part of the carrots did we focus on? I see the first bold word in the second section says roots. So I think while the first section we read focused on rainbow bark, this section is focusing on the part of a plant for these carrots, which would be rainbow roots, right? All right, so number 3 here. Rainbow roses start off with white petals, but people can turn them into a rainbow. How? The secret of this rainbow flower is in its stem, not its petals. The stem's job is to carry water through the plants to the leaves and flowers. People split a white rose's stem into 4 parts. They put each part of the stem into its own cup of water. Then they put a different color dye in each cup of water. Each part of the stem sucks up a different color of water and carries it to the petals. The water changes the color of the white petals. The flower ends up a rainbow. So the first section we read, what part of the tree was rainbow? It's bark, right? So that was rainbow bark section. The second one we read about, what part of the plant was rainbow? It's roots, right? So maybe that section could be like rainbow roots. The third section, what part of those roses was the rainbow plant part? Now it said that it came from the stem, but what part of it do we see as the actual rainbow? The petals, right? Up at the top of that diagram down there, we see it points to the petals, okay? So maybe we could come up with subheadings like rainbow bark, rainbow roots, rainbow petals, okay? Now let's go through, last little paragraph here. This is gonna be a big help. From roots to petals, plant parts can be all the colors of the rainbow. They may get their rainbow colors in different ways, but they are all beautiful to look at. So there it tells us about roots and petals like we thought 2 and 3 might be. All right, let's look at our 3 captions here. Up at the top, let's start with number 4 here. I see the different colored carrots. So we can come up with some caption that tells me more about these carrots. Remember, the caption gives us info and tells us what a picture shows. Well, what does this picture show? It shows different rainbow carrots. So maybe you could ask a question like, which rainbow carrot is your favorite? Or it could just state carrots can come in all different colors of the rainbow. I liked that section that mentioned about how the more color they have, the more vitamins they have. So we could say something like that too. It just has to match or tell more about the picture. Okay, let's look at 5 down there in the corner with our rainbow eucalyptus trees. And remember, this section was focusing on the bark. So maybe we could say rainbow eucalyptus come in many different colors, or rainbow bark sheds to reveal new colors. Anything that tells me more about the picture. Okay, and finally down here at the bottom with the roses, that caption actually is pointing to those 4 different cups. And those we said were different cups of water with different dye on them. So you could ask something like, which cup is your favorite? Or which colors would you use to make rainbow roses? I really want to try planting those carrots and doing that rainbow rose. I think that would be so much fun. See if it would actually work. Okay, it's going to be really important that you remember what we just talked about for your activity you're about to do. So this is just the back of our magazine. We're not going to write this or do this together. We're just going to talk about it real quick because I wanted you to see another example of a diagram nonfiction text feature. Remember, a diagram was a picture with different parts labeled. So this is a picture of a beautiful sunflower, and we're going to look at the, it says, follow the directions to answer the questions. Label the stem on the diagram. Write one thing the stem does. Okay, so I think the stem is that orangey yellowish box down there because we know that stem from the rose was what came down and was split to get the colors. And then the roots are going to be that pinky box down there at the bottom. Remember the carrot showed us the roots down in the soil. And then we've got the leaves up there that make the food for the plant. And then the flower head makes the seeds for the plant. So cool. Okay. I liked the little bonus down there. It says, imagine you wanted to turn this sunflower into a rainbow sunflower. How could you do it? I can't imagine what that would look like. All right, it's your turn. And like I said, if you were just listening and paying attention to all those different subheadings and things we came up with together, this will be no problem for you at all. So down at the bottom of your activity today, there's 6 yellow boxes, okay? 6 yellow boxes. 3 of them are going to be subheadings, and 3 of them are going to be captions. So just like you did yesterday, you're going to press that label button to be able to drag these different yellow labels onto the magazine. So choose which caption, which subheading should go for the first section, drag it over there. Choose which subheading should go with the second section, drag it over there. And choose which subheading should go with the third and final section and drag it over there. Remember, it's the different rainbow plant parts. Then finally, you're going to be left with 3 captions. And just make sure you remember that captions give us info about what the picture shows. So make sure you match the correct caption with the correct picture. Shouldn't be hard. If you need to rewind and rewatch the lesson of us going through it together, that might be really helpful. Good job, guys. Keep practicing that nonfiction text feature song. And remember, tomorrow is our grammar day. So I'm excited to come with you tomorrow, talking a little bit more about the adjectives we started last week, okay? Have a great day. See you later.